Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Today is February 3rd. We're about 6 weeks out to our next upcoming event, March 15th, at the heart of San Francisco Keys Art Pavilion. Right next to me, we have Andrew Toste right here checking in today and get the contract signed and getting ready for the fight, March 15th. Now, Andrew, let's introduce you once to all the MMA fight fans out there. You haven't fought on my show for like a few years now.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. I fought at the Keys Art, I fought at the Cow Palace. I've actually helped work a few of the officiating for Camo at your events.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm very, very well versed in the whole thing of how Dragon House works.
That's pretty awesome. Now, good to have you on board now. The only difference, this fight, it's a professional fight. It's a pro fight now. Back in the day, you fought in the amateur. So let's tell us a little bit about your personal, born and raised. What got you into martial art? What got you into this point?
Born and raised Gilroy, California, where I spent most of my life. I spent a few years out in Texas living with some family out there, and then we moved back out here. Been in Gilroy almost my entire life. Trained in San Jose, I've trained in Gilroy, Morgan Hill, Hollister. I've coached at a bunch of different gyms. I've just been hired recently as the wrestling coach for Christopher High School. Been coaching Opposed DC a couple of tournaments this year. That's been pretty cool. Been now coaching at Ant Dogs MMA. Been training over there for like the past 4 or 5 years. I can't tell you how much I've grown just being in this small little area. You don't realize how good this area is until you get out of your little bubble and realize that Gilroy, California is one of the most combat sports heavy area in like this entire general like state.
That's pretty awesome, you know. Now, this is your full-time gig now, right?
Yes, sir. I actually
You live and breathe.
Yeah, I quit my job. I was with Best Buy for like 6 years, installing TVs, just hauling big, giant things around all the time, and it was getting to the point where it was just wearing down on my body. So my last fight, took a 2-week vacation for my fight. As I came back, gave my 2-week notice, and haven't looked back since. I've been coaching full time. I've been training full time. There's like it's amazing how much stress is taken off of you when all you focus on is the thing that you're trying to progress your life in.
That's pretty awesome, you know. Now, you know, obviously, you turned pro almost a year ago now. Right?
It's about 6 months, so it's like
months.
right before November.
Right before November, that's your first pro fight.
Yep.
And then, well, coming off a couple hiccups, you know, I saw your last fight, the result. I didn't see the fight, you know. You fought a very game opponent.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
so I know the fight didn't go your way, and let's talk us through a little bit about what went wrong on the last fight.
I think it was the main problem was I was definitely not ready for the first fight. I went into that just sort of trying to get through the weight cut. It was a new weight class, a professional for me. Everything was just full of drama in my personal life. It was a bad space to be in going into the fight. I had no business being in there, and it showed. And almost immediately, I think I lost within the first minute of the fight. But then at the same time, it's a equal reflection of how my amateur career started. The first fight I went in there, and I sort of was a little out of my own element. Didn't kind of get in the right headspace, went in there and lost very quickly. And then in my second fight, I went out there and actually had fun. I had a good time, went the entire fight, and it was an absolute war between me and Moses. That was an absolute amazing fight. Probably fight of the year in terms of like your amateur California fights. Mm-hmm. And the same thing happened in the last one. I went out there and I was actually ready. I was happy. The weight cut was easy. Everyone was having a good time. There was no stress in my life. Like I said, I was already planning on leaving my job. Everything was great. And then I went in there and had an absolute phenomenal time. I didn't get the result I wanted, but that was a fun fight. I can watch back on that and be like, that was awesome.
That's pretty good, you know. So now, on this upcoming fight, I know the last 2 fights you're fighting in 135 pounds. This is the first fight moving back to 145. So what got you want to move it back up to 145 on this upcoming fight?
Holiday eating. There's a really big number on you. I mean, I don't like fighting around the holidays because I don't like being grumpy and cutting weight around my family because I'm already a grumpy guy. So the fact that I was pretty free eating throughout the holiday season definitely didn't help me. I don't want to go back into the mindset where I'm just trying to get through the weight cut and the fight is kind of a back sense. I want to be able to focus on my fight, so that's where we're sitting at. I'm going to go in, ready to fight, we'll have a good time, and then we'll be a little bit more disciplined on the back end after the fight, eat what we should be eating, and then stay at our proper weight when we should be.
Now, in the future, are you moving back to 135?
I'm not afraid of fluctuating in terms of general sense. Like, I don't mind fighting anywhere where there's a good fight to have. If there's an exciting fight for me to be booked at, I don't mind being booked there. If you look back on where my fights were scheduled, my very first fight I ever had booked was at 205. So I'm not afraid.
Wait, 205?
Yes, sir. In fact, my first fight booked, I had booked against Aspen Ladd's brother, Shalor Ladd. That was my first fight I ever had booked.
205.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit.
Yes, sir. So I'm not afraid of fluctuating. I'm not afraid of like getting some wins here, getting some wins there, getting some fights here, getting some fights there. As long as the fight makes sense, that's where I want to be.
Wow. So did you actually fight?
No. So it was a very short notice fight they had booked for him. I was trying to jump in there and just get a fight booked, trying to get the nerves out of the way and not be stuck on something. And Shalor, being the smart man, it was the first fight I had ever had. He had never heard of me. Jumping in on 2 weeks' notice. Who is this guy who's I've never heard before? They didn't take the fight. Now, it is what it is. I probably wouldn't take a fight against somebody I had never heard of on 2 weeks' notice either. But that is what had happened.
Wow. Yeah, I remember you fighting like 45, 55, like it fluctuated back and forth.
In amateurs, I had a belt at 35, I had a belt at 45, I had a belt at 55, 45, and 35.
Holy cow. Wow. I know you've got quite a bit of amateur fights. You've got quite a bit of experience. Now, let's talk a little bit about your upcoming opponent. You're a very, very game opponent, Felix Kasiwa. Sorry if I pronounced his name not correctly, but very game opponent. What do you think of his? What do you think of this guy?
I mean, there's a reason I took the fight. It looks like an exciting fight. That's where I like to be. I don't like being in fights that are just like bleh, or like, yeah, I could probably win something boring. I want to have fun fights. That looks like a fun fight for sure. We have mutual previously booked opponents. He fought Jamie Moira. I had Moira booked here last year before I injured out my knee and wasn't able to fulfill the date. But there's a reason that fight was booked. It was an exciting fight. Jamie's an exciting fighter. Felix is an exciting fighter. If you look back on his amateur fights, those are all really fun fights, and those are the kinds of fights I want to be in.
Now, he's definitely got a lot of heart. When I watch him fight, he fought on my amateur. I'm not sure he fought. I think he fought on my amateur once, and then he fought as a pro debut as well a year ago. So now, when you're watching his fight, what do you see yourself having an advantage on him?
That's not my avenue. I'll let my coaches do that, and they'll do the strategy part. I'm just looking at whether or not I want to fight this opponent, and that when I watch his fights, that looks like somebody I definitely want to fight. Again, I'll let the coaches deal with like where the advantages are. I'm sure that the coaches see those advantages because they wouldn't have allowed me, or not allowed me, but they wouldn't have suggested I take the fight if those advantages were presented to them.
When you're watching his fight, do you think his strong point it's like more like a grappling or striking?
I think that he's tenacious just in general. Like, he's not afraid to let the fight materialize and be wherever the fight's going to take him, and he's willing to fight in any of those locations. That's where I see what I see when I watch his fight.
Right. I mean, he's definitely a game opponent, Now, do you see this fight going to distance against Felix?
Time in the cage is always useful. Like, what I tell my wrestlers all the time, there's nothing more valuable than that time. There's nothing more valuable than cage time. So if I can make the fight, not make the fight, but if the fight can materialize to where it's longer, that's value for me in general. So if the fight goes longer, that's great. If the fight ends sooner, that just means I have the opportunity to jump back in there sooner.
That's pretty awesome, What do you walk around weight right now, Andrew?
Normally I like to walk around about like 168, 169. During the winter break, I was about 180. Right now, I'm back down to like 162, 163.
Right, so it's like 15 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I can hover around 15 and then just shoot the last bit off at the end, that's where I want to be. I can train strong. I can train my cardio where it's going to be, because there's nothing worse than training where you're at 100% and then depleting down your body, and then all of your training kind of goes out the window because your cardio is not where it wants to be, your strength's not where it wants to be. So it's better to be where you're strong the whole time.
Now, what other possible in the future opponent that interests you to fight, like 35 or 45, Any other opponents out there or fighters out there that you have your eyes on and kind of look out for, you know?
Well, I've spent a lot of time in the amateur ranks. There's a lot of guys that I mean, I think I had like 12, 13 fights in the amateurs. So there's a lot of guys that I previously fought that I've gotten rematches on, and I'm more than willing and wanting to give those guys rematches that I fought beforehand as well. So if like Joey Bartholomew, if Moses Gomez wants to make the jump up to pros and they want somebody they're a little bit more familiar with, I have no problem giving those guys rematches. I respect the hell out of both of those guys. Great fighters. Both those fights were awesome and super fun. The obvious answer you're going to hear me repeat every single time you ask me this question is Jesse Rosas. I want that fight so freaking bad. I cannot express it to you enough. And then there's like a bunch of other names that kind of like I would enjoy getting my hands on, but we'll leave those names in the back end. And when they need to get brought up, I'll let them bring up the name because I don't want to give them any more clout than they need.
Jesse Rosa is fighting in a couple weeks in Philadelphia for FCC, something like that. Fury fighting at Philadelphia. I think he's fighting a pretty game opponent. So, hopefully look out for that. And I know he's shooting to go into the contender as well, but young kid, so I remember that fight. I think that was the first fight.
That was my first fight, yeah.
Yes, that was pretty impressive. I don't even know who that is until I watch him fight as a good grappler. So interesting. Oh, well, see if someday down the line you get to rematch him, maybe after a couple more wins or something,
Yes,
that's
sir.
gonna be pretty awesome. Now, if people want to get a hold of you to buy a ticket, come watching you fight, how can people contact you?
Easiest way to get a hold of me is on my Instagram. I'm there almost all the time. I do most of my promotion on my Instagram. My Instagram handle is Toste MMA, Toasty MMA. Pretty easy to find. If you search up the Christopher High Wrestling, I'm tagged on just about all of their posts, so you find me through them as well. But all of my tickets will be available through my Instagram. If you want to get a hold of me there, I should be able to get a hold of you.
Do you have a big family, a large family in Gilroy?
Yes, sir. I mean, the Portuguese community is a very large community. As somebody who brings out the Portuguese flag, my grandfather's own Portuguese flag he brought over from the islands. I mean, there's a Portuguese hall in just about every city from here down to Gilroy.
You have Portuguese blood in you?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh shit!
My family came from the islands. My mom's full-blooded. My grandparents are full-blooded. We spent months over there during the summer when I was growing up.
That's Latin, right?
I believe so, yeah.
But you have Latin in you.
The Latin root, yeah, sure.
Oh shit! I always surprised me every time I interview with fighter. So what you mix with the Portuguese
and then whatever my dad is. I mean, he's like a million other whatever, German, Swedish, all the other random assortments and stuff.
So you got your mud mixing up a lot of different things. That's pretty awesome, Now on this upcoming fight, any special loved ones, supporters, coaches that you want to shout out to?
I mean, I got to shout out my coaches every single time. Anthony Figueroa, Jesse Diaz, Angel Figueroa, all you guys just help me out all the time. It's amazing. I mean, the fact that I was training on my front door, in my front yard, just kind of hoping that I didn't have anywhere to go when my gym shut down. And Alan Silhanek, one of my best teammates at the moment, just, hey man, you want to come to the gym? Just gave me an open door, let me work. Didn't give me any pressure, just let me do anything I needed to. I mean, that's astounding to me. The fact that somebody could just pick somebody off the street and be like, yeah, open door, just let them work. Alan Silhanek, Isaiah Luna, Elijah Souza, Justin Kim, all the guys at the gym working every day, Sarkis, Brandon, who just had a fight, Gavin's got a fight coming up, Ivan, Ignacio, every single one of you guys in there just pushing me to be better. Anthony Figueroa Jr. just coming in and just making every single person he works with just that much better every single time. There's no way I can thank you guys enough. Taproom on 4th Street, Ground Gamers sending me more and more stuff every single day, just showing the love and support. I can't thank you guys enough.
That's pretty awesome. Now, Felix Acostiwa, if you're watching this interview, what do you have to say to him?
I just can't wait for an exciting fight, man. Thank you for getting my butt in the gym, getting me excited again. It's been good to focus on the kids and getting them ready to wrestle, but it's like an even bigger juice to just get myself ready to go. So thank you for giving me the ability to set the example for my kids to put the grind in.
That's pretty awesome. Now, for more information about this upcoming fight card, Check out DragonHouseMMA.com. This event is a live stream pay-per-view nationwide. If you cannot make it to the event, making sure you guys order the pay-per-view voucher from DragonHouseMMA.com. And subscribe my YouTube channel. Give me some love and support, people, and motivates me. I like to hit 5,000 members, the subscriber. That's my goal, so we're pretty close over there. So help me out, subscribe my YouTube channel. More than welcome to comment on all my interviews, and then put up a little something on the Facebook and Instagram as well. So follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well. So we'll see you guys March 15. It's gonna be a huge stack card, over 20 fights on this upcoming card. So do not miss it out. Any last word you want to say to anyone out there?
Love you guys. Stay toasty.
One last question. Who is your favorite UFC fighter?
The two that I always name is got to be Donald Cerrone and Uriah Faber. Uriah Faber is the guy that got me started watching fighting. So the fact that I was able to fight on his card is just one of those bucket list things that I'm never going to be able to forget about.
That's pretty awesome. Wow. Donald Cerrone as well, huh?
Yeah.
I think he's making a comeback.
Yeah, he actually, when I was coaching at Gilroy Health and Fitness, when they opened up the MMA section, he came in and opened up the gym and did a little seminar. It was really cool.
Yeah, he's a big dude, though.
He's massive. You don't think so?
You don't think
he fights. He's one of those guys that fights everywhere, and it's
Right.
just you forget he walks around 180. That's crazy.
He's a big dude, and you actually meet him in person, fucking Donald Cerrone, 6 feet plus, and he's a big guy, So anyhow, catching up, Andrew Toste, March 15 at Keys Art Pavilion. Make sure you guys DM him directly, get a ticket from him, come give him a little support. Fighters don't make a whole lot on regional scenes, and give him a little bit of credit on their ticket sales. So make sure you guys directly hit him up, get a ticket from him. And I am Zhong signing out. We'll see you guys March 15.
See you guys.
Peace.